Salutations, Internet. My name is Ace, and there is one thing I cannot shut up about. E.G. E.G., or as I like to call it, Undertale before Undertale existed, is an action-packed strategic platform shooter that has a detailed story, large levels with multiple paths, powerful bosses, and lots of secrets. That's according to Daniel Remar. He's the sole game designer, script writer, programmer, graphics designer, and sound editor. He's released quite a number of games, even updating them throughout the years. E.G., though, is probably his most well-known. You see, back in 2011, my computer was somewhat of a toaster. 64 gigabytes of space, half a gig of RAM, was pretty much shackled to playing RuneScape. When one day, after YouTube searching for some video game music, I happened upon a song from a video game titled E.G. After looking up this game and figuring out that my computer could play it, I immediately downloaded and played it. And I was stunned, to say the least. But that was back in 2011. That was E.G. 1.6. Since then, Daniel Remar has released E.G. 1.7. So, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you sit back and relax, and let's take a look at E.G. E.G. stars E.G. Katizer, a 20-something-year-old woman who's touring her father's job at a weapons research facility along with her family. She happens to glance out a window and notices some strange lights in the clouds, when suddenly some time passes, and we find E.G. waking up in a room alone. As she explores the area, she finds humanoid creatures examining a group of dead scientists. E.G. starts to freak out until she hears her brother Dan talking to her via a speaker in the room. Dan tries to explain to E.G. that aliens called the Tassin have invaded the research facility, killing almost everyone inside. 6 months have passed since then, and a group of researchers trapped inside have attempted to stop the aliens by creating a cyborg soldier with the aliens' technology. However, the only person they could find to turn into a cyborg was E.G. Unfortunately, she does not take this well. After Dan calms E.G. down, he explains his plan to her. Since she is the only one who could communicate with the Tassin, Dan wants her to find a high-ranking Tassin and try to convince him to make the Tassin leave. E.G.'s not entirely sure that they'll listen, and can't help wonder why nobody else has dealt with them yet. But she doesn't have much time, as the longer she stays there, the greater risk she has of being found. So E.G. heads out into the weapons research facility to try and find a way to make the Tassin leave.
Well, that's one way to start your game. Discovering that everyone you know and love is dead, that aliens have invaded your planet, and that you have been turned into a cyborg? That's some pretty heavy stuff from a game whose idea of a cutscene is some really small pictures.
After that intro, the game starts you off in Sector 1, where Dan teaches you the basics of the game. E.G. plays similar to a Metroidvania. You walk left and right, shooting aliens and exploring areas. But unlike Metroidvanias, E.G. doesn't have a giant world to explore. Instead, the game is broken up into levels, or sectors. They're definitely not as big as the areas in a Metroidvania, but they're big enough to contain alternate paths and secrets to find that reward you for your exploration.
Like secret mini-games and weapons.
Each sector contains an exit, and it is your goal to reach that exit. It won't always be easy though, as there are many locked doors, inaccessible areas, and plenty of enemies blocking your path. Now besides moving in general, E.G. is capable of jumping, ducking, and climbing ledges. Jumping, of course, is used to reach higher areas, but it's also useful for dodging certain projectiles, as is ducking. E.G. is also capable of kicking. You can kick down these doors with a red shield around them, and you can knock down certain enemies with it too, as long as your strength is high enough. There are some doors that can't be kicked down though. These doors with a colored light in the middle have to be cracked. Cracking is basically hacking, where you play this little game, guiding a blinking square to a red square to open the door. You can crack doors, crates, and even enemies, though I don't find that last one that useful. Enemies don't tend to stand still very often, always walking away or into me. It's always easier just to shoot them. E.G. has a very special nanogun, capable of holding multiple guns within it. She starts out with a shotgun, which is awesome, but is capable of getting new weapons like a machine gun or rocket launcher. Later on, she can get more exotic weapons that shoot things like lightning, lasers, laser footballs. There's a lot of variety with the weapons here. EG 1.7 even introduces some alternate weapons, though none of them do any damage. By pressing the enter button, you can use these alternate versions of the weapons you've unlocked. It changes things like your shotgun turning into a stun gun, or your rocket launcher pushes enemies away instead of blowing them up. There's even a gun that steals experience points from enemies. You might have figured out by now that EG has some RPG elements in it. Whenever you kill an enemy, they drop these little blue balls called Nano. Gathering these will increase your experience in the experience bar. Once that fills up, you'll gain a level and a point. You can use that point at one of these cyborg stations to level up a stat of your choice. You have health, which increases your total amount of health, attack, which increases the power of your weapons, assimilate lets you carry more ammo and repair more of your armor, strength increases the power of your kick, allowing you to knock down stronger doors and enemies, crack allows you to crack various objects, Tassin allows you to use more Tassin weapons, and Kamado lets you use rarer Kamado weapons. You don't have to kill enemies to get blue nano. There's quite a bit just laying around the sectors. You can't even hoard it, as you're only allowed to gain 5 levels per sector. Which honestly doesn't make much sense, but I can see from a gameplay perspective that gaining a fast amount of levels in the beginning could make it too easy of a game. The game is balanced around this, so I'm honestly not bothered by it. These green and red bars down below represent your armor and health. Walking into enemies or getting shot by certain weapons will drain your armor. Once that's empty, the next hit will cause you to lose some health, but your armor will then be refilled. Not all weapons damage your armor though, some just bypass it. Weapons like rocket launchers or any physical attacks will just damage your health bar. If you need to, collect green nano to restore armor, and red nano to restore your armor and health. Enemies use the same armor and health bar system you do. You have to drain their armor before doing any damage to them, and they can also use the nano to repair their health and armor. So try not to attack them if they're standing on any.
Nano, nano, nano. Boy, this game sure gives Metal Gear Rising Revengeance a run for its money on the use of the word nano. Anyways, that was pretty much the basics of gameplay. Why don't we continue with the story?
Dan has tasked EG on finding an elite Tassin named Crotera. He is located in Sector 3 though, so EG must journey through Sectors 1 and 2 to reach him. Sector 1 doesn't contain much of interest, it's pretty much your tutorial area. Sector 2 is also an easy area, though it teaches you some new things. Aside from opening doors and crates, cracking can be used to combine 2 weapons together to unlock an alternate firing mode for one weapon. For example, combining the shotgun and machine gun gives you the Buster Gun, a fast-shooting shotgun that uses the machine gun's ammo. You can get a lot of crazy weapons by doing this, including a nuke. There's also a permanent upgrade for EG's jump height here, which will help her reach those harder-to-reach platforms. After reaching the exit in Sector 2, EG comes across a ladder leading to a balcony. She decides to head up it, despite warnings from Dan, and finds a devastating truth. The Tassin didn't just attack the research facility, they destroyed the rest of the world, and once again, EG doesn't take it well. This is actually a pretty nice way of showing how different EG and Dan are. Dan has been living with the fact that everyone's been dead for 6 months now. He's willing to do whatever it takes to get rid of the Tassin. EG's just only discovered this today, so it's weird for her to just suddenly hate this group that's destroyed her world. Plus, as far as we know, she's never actually killed anything before. Dan tries to calm EG down again, but EG can't handle that the world is so far gone, and that she's the only one capable of changing anything. All Dan can do is reassure her that they can survive this ordeal. EG heads out into Sector 3, where Dan warns her that Crotera might be dangerous, and to pick up an upgrade located further in the sector. The upgrade is actually some stronger armor. Now EG won't take as much armor damage. She also finds some new aliens hidden in the sector. They're pretty hostile, but they do have some rare Kamado weapons that you can collect if your Kamado stat is high enough. EG finally reaches Elite Crotera. She tries to explain her plight to him, but Crotera wants nothing to do with her. He explains that the Tassin will do anything to survive extinction, even destroying other civilizations. This leads us to our first boss fight. It's a pretty simple fight. You just shoot him and dodge his attacks. You can also kick these turrets at him to do some big damage.
This song that you're hearing right now? This is the actual song that I found on the internet that led me to this game. The soundtrack was composed mostly by Chris Gehan and Dan Byrne-McCullough. I'm sorry if I mispronounced those names incorrectly. If you don't recognize their names, you might know them by the other name that they're known as. Hyperduck Soundworks? The people that made the Dust and Elysian Tale music? Well, regardless of whether or not you've heard of them, they've composed some great music, and EG is no exception. It has everything from quite emotional pieces to blood-pumping boss music.
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like EG will be able to talk the Tassin into leaving now that Crotera is dead. Thankfully though, Dan has come up with another plan. Doing some research, Dan has confirmed that the Tassin are on the run from another alien civilization called the Komato. He theorizes that the Komato are some sort of space police, and that calling them might actually be the best plan to get rid of the Tassin on the planet. EG isn't too sure that bringing more aliens to the planet is the best choice they can make, but unfortunately they really don't have any other kind of plan. So EG heads off into Sector 4 towards the Tassin communication area. After EG reactivates the generator and cracks the Tassin communicator, Dan sends off a distress signal to the Komato fleet, which happens to not be that far away from Earth. At first it doesn't seem like it worked, but then things start to get quite explodey. The Komato are here. Unfortunately, the Komato don't appear to be some sort of space police. They're actually a genocidal, warmongering, militaristic alien civilization. Oops. With the Komato attack, Dan becomes unable to communicate with EG. Fearing the worst, EG heads off further into the facility to try and find him. Sector 5 is probably one of my more favorite sectors of the game, as you get to see the Tassin and Komato focus on killing each other instead of you. This sector also has a lot of nifty shortcuts, one of which will help you nab another permanent upgrade. The upgrade will increase your jump height again, making EG's jump look really ridiculous. Before EG can make it to Sector 6, she gets stopped by a one-armed Komato assassin named Asha. He's after the bounty that's been put on her by the Komato. This leads to our second boss fight of the game. Asha is fast, so fast that most of your attacks will miss him, except if you shoot him with the shotgun. Apparently he finds primitive weapons too pathetic to dodge.
I guess nukes are primitive weapons now.
Before EG can kill Asha, he teleports away, vowing that he'll destroy her one day. Yeah, good luck with that, dude. Once inside Sector 6, EG finds some computer terminals that explain the origin of the Tassin and the Komato. Apparently the Komato come from a planet called Origin, which happens to be Earth. After they discovered space travel, they left the planet with the goal of becoming the greatest civilization in the galaxy. However, some of the Komato questioned the extreme genetic engineering they had performed on themselves. These Komato started to modify their appearances to what they used to look like back on Origin, and became known as the Tassin. Unfortunately, the majority of the Komato saw the Tassin as a weaker version of themselves, and hatred grew between the civilizations until the Komato declared war on the Tassin. At the end of Sector 6, EG finds a control room where she finds Dan! Yeah, he figured EG would try to find him and headed towards this control room too. They have a brief moment of respite, but Dan has made some discoveries. Apparently, a Komato general named Tor is headed down towards the planet. Dan figures that EG could try talking to him to convince the Komato to leave. You know, since that works so well with the Tassin. However, there's a problem. The Komato plan on Alpha striking the Earth, which is what the Tassin did when they first arrived, but the Komato want to do it at full force to ensure that nothing lives. The only thing stopping them is a Tassin planetary shield generator, but it won't last for long as the Komato have sent down a ship to destroy it. So EG heads to Sector 7 and finds the Komato ship, along with a nice armor upgrade. She sabotages the ship's weapons and escapes, right into another boss fight. This is Sentinel Proxima, a giant robot with massive destructive capabilities. It likes to fly around, lobbing rockets and shooting lasers. You can only damage it with the more destructive weapons EG can carry, and if you don't have any of those, you can just kick it into these electrified walls. It's pretty fun.
Now, before we go on, I have to ask, if any of you are interested in this game, please go download and play it. It's literally free and it can be found here. I'm about to get into spoiler territory and I would hate to ruin the ending for you guys.
Now I'd say EG's doing pretty well for herself. I mean, she's taken out assassins, found her brother, and even destroyed a giant floating robot.
I'd say things are starting to turn on.
The Kamado has sent out another ship and have destroyed the planetary shield generator. And to make matters worse, Asha has kidnapped Dan. He demands that Iji heads towards the end of Sector 8. She finds Dan there, but before she can reach him, Asha teleports in and threatens to kill him. Unfortunately, Iji isn't fast enough to defend herself and protect Dan. Asha kills him, and Iji, unable to handle the death of her brother, screams in agony.
It's tough seeing Iji like this. Dan was all she had, and now he's gone. No less by the fact that she couldn't save him herself. She would blame herself for his death if she actually believed he was dead.
At this point, Iji becomes delusional, and talks to Dan as if he was still alive. She even swears to protect him as she heads towards Sector X to finish the task that Dan had gave her. Before she can make it to Sector X, Iji must pass through Sector 9. It's here that you see just how outclassed the Tassin were to the Kamado. I mean, the generic Kamado troopers and berserkers were always tougher than the general Tassin units, but with the fast and deadly to the touch beasts, and the true to their name Annihilators, it's no wonder that all the Tassin are gone. Well, they're not all gone. The last surviving Tassin are actually holed up in Sector 9, and Iji has to get past them on her way to Sector X. But as she nears their base, all she can hear is screaming and explosions. Iji inspects the base and finds that all the Tassin have been massacred. Past them, she finds the one responsible, Iosa the Invincible. Iosa is considered the strongest Kamado in existence, as she survived a full-power Alpha Strike on her home world. This is because she was experimented on and has an invincible nano-shield. Iji demands that she let her pass, but Iosa won't let anything that poses a threat to Tor live. Iosa is pretty tough for a boss fight, as your weapons are ineffective against her Annihilator. You'll have to jump up to these ledges that cause these lasers to shoot down and damage her. She doesn't make it easy though, as she'll constantly shoot at you and attempt to catch you in mid-air. She also has a second phase after you destroy her Annihilator. Now she's fast and completely invulnerable. You have to dodge her attack and kick her back until she hits the wall. Then, you can crack into her nanoshield to remove it. After Iji deals with Iosa, she heads towards Sector X, where she gets some good news and some bad news. Since she managed to kill the strongest Kamado in existence, the Kamado are ceasing the Alpha Strike. But now they're sending all their troops to hunt Iji down. Further into Sector X, Asha appears. He apparently has trained so hard that he's capable of dodging all attacks. Iji though doesn't give him any time to explain this, as she literally attacks him on sight. This time the boss fight with Asha is contained in this small vertical area, and once again the only thing that can hurt Asha is the shotgun. But it can be a bit hard to hit him as he'll teleport around, laying traps and shooting lasers. After he gets a bit damaged, he'll go so fast he leaves after images of himself around the arena. Iji finally manages to kill him, doing the opposite of a decapitation. She heads further into Sector X, desperate to reach Tor. Many Kamado do everything in their power to try and stop her, but she eventually makes it. She makes it to General Tor. Iji tries talking to Tor, asking him to stop the Alpha Strike, but the General is angered at Iji for killing Iosa, who apparently was his beloved. Iji argues how pointless the Alpha Strike is, seeing as it's already known that all the Tassin have been killed, and Tor actually agrees. He hates the war, how the intolerance of his people started it, and how the government had to go along with it to stop any internal conflicts. He explains that the only way to make the Kamado people happy is to guarantee the total annihilation of the Tassin with an Alpha Strike. Iji begs, pleads with him to stop it, and Tor gives her one chance. Prove the Kamado wrong by surviving. Here we go! The final boss, Tor! Tor rides in a giant exoskeleton that's intended for fighting armies. This actually helps, as Iji is small enough to dodge his attacks. That doesn't stop Tor from using his Rage Bombs, Rippers, Arch Devastator, Fractal Rockets, Mega Missiles, and more. He even has a Phantom Hammer. Only your strongest of weapons will damage his exoskeleton, and even then, they won't do much. To do some big damage to him though, you'll have to reflect his Phantom Hammer back at him. But if you miss enough of them, he'll just turn you into dust. Afterwards, he'll fly into the background and attack before flying back to the rooftop. Once you knock Tor's health down, he'll explode, destroying the roof and causing both him and Iji to plummet down. Tor begs for mercy, and Iji gives it. She asks again for Tor to stop the Alpha Strike, and he does. He orders the Kamado fleet to leave the planet and head home. He apologizes to Iji, taking the blame for all who have died in Origin, including Dan. Not wanting to live with the knowledge of all the lives he's ended, Tor kills himself, and Iji, now realizing that Dan is dead, runs out of the facility and watches the Kamado leave.
And that was Iji, a game that literally caused my jaw to drop. Why was that? Well, you see, I didn't have to kill anybody. The Tassin, the Kamado, none of them had to die by my hand. I had never seen this before in a game. A pacifist route that I could have taken that would have changed how things happened in the game. It shocked me how I never realized I didn't have to kill anybody. How I was so used to seeing aliens in the game and just shooting them. I've gone through the game now like this, and boy, it sure is something. I won't spoil it for you guys, but it sure is interesting seeing the Tassin and the Kamado react to something they can't kill that won't kill them. Anyways, I think I need to thank you guys. If it hasn't been obvious, I've taken a long time to make this video. I originally started this 5 years ago, and who knows, maybe I'll release my next video in 5 more. I guess I should just start ending this video, I guess. It's just, there's so much to talk about with this game. I mean, what game offers you everything that I've told you about, and more, for free? Iji. Anyways, my name is Ace, and this is why I cannot shut up about Iji.